Hey, good people! This week's Sunday Funday with Kenny from Sticky Brick Labs. This Sunday Funday was a blast. I had a great time. Kenny and I had a great conversation about all things related to cannabis, vaporization, and life. Um, Video starts in about 30 seconds due to some technical issues, so stay tuned and have fun. Kenny, hey man, I want to ask you, where are you from and what's up?
Yes, so I am from Asheville, or we are living in Asheville, North Carolina. I am originally from Cleveland, Ohio. I grew up north. So then I moved around the country a little bit. I lived in California for a bit, in Colorado, and back to Ohio, and then down to Florida, where I met my wife. And then we settled, they call us halfbacks because we're halfway back to the north. And we settled in the mountains in North Carolina, and we've been here for almost 20 years and love it. Love it. Love it.
Sweet man, that's cool. That's cool. So since I know you live in a illegal state, we're
hmm
we're not gonna do our session as obvious as we can. We're gonna do it a little bit mysterious. But before we get into mystery, I wanted to ask, what was your first experience with cannabis, man? That's one question that I.
Ooh, so I was probably 12 or 13. I started very young. I had a friend with an older brother that had it, and we pretty much stole some from him because we knew what it was, and tried to roll a really bad joint and, and tried to smoke and coughed and coughed and coughed, and it was horrible. And I didn't use again for 2 years, maybe a year, something like that. And then slowly started. My side was purely recreational. I was listening to the Grateful Dead. I was really into the Grateful Dead at the time, and that kind of fit with that whole hippie scene thing. And that's how I really got into it. And just it really honestly became a passion by the time I was 18 or 19. I really like just enjoyed the whole thing about it. The ceremony of it and sharing it with friends, and it just felt like I drank at the time, but I've never been a big drinker, and I think that was a big part of it, is that I enjoyed it so much more than beer and drinking and stuff. And in the late 90s, I think we started reading about vaporizers, and this was mostly high times. Before the internet, it was essentially high times only, where you were getting your information. So we had made a like light bulb vaporizer, and using like a light switch, like a dimmer switch, and plastic melted and stuff. And we had done like knife hits and stuff like this, but nothing approaching a true vaporizer. And we knew like, ooh, this could be something good, and messed, but never came up with anything good. And then eventually I tried the Vapor Brothers. I think that was probably the first actual real vaporizer I used. I don't know if it was Vapor Brothers or Volcano. One of my friends had a Volcano pretty early on too. Um, so that was definitely one of my early experiences. And then around 2012, 13 or something, um, I I got an early log vape. I think an HI and a Heat Island, um,
Yeah.
and that really turned it for me. And then and I've said this a few times. Then I got my hands on a E Nano from Epic,
Oh.
and I've been fortunate enough to since become friends with them, and so I'm a little partial to them. And now I'm really good friends with Ed from Ed's TNT too, so I feel bad, but I like all the log vapes. I want to give all of them a shout out, but the E Nano is really the one that I've stopped smoking entirely since then, and that set the course for vaporizers for me. The E Nano just really did it, and to this day I just had it out the other night, and I still use the same one that's 5 or 6 years old. So I really enjoy it. That was pretty much my path.
That's cool, man. That's cool. That also answered my second question. I want to tell you all that's watching us. Kenny and I, we actually met a few months ago in an online community, 420 Vape Zone, and the reason we met or we actually connected was that I purchased a Nova from Doug's Woodery, which was my first butane vaporizer, and when I got that, I was a bit disappointed. And the reason I was disappointed is because it didn't function the way I wanted. And I was talking about that vaporizer in the community, and you told me, listen, you need to try more wooden vaporizers. And then I went and took a junior from a friend of mine here, and it dawned on me that wooden vaporizer or vaporizer, butane vaporizers are, dude, this is a big thing. This is like a smoking experience with a vaporizer. And I wanted to ask you, what was your vision when you started Sticky Brick Labs? What did you have in mind?
I it's that because I was a smoker for so long. It is the smoking experience. It's the ritual of the torch lighter thing and holding a bowl and smoking it. And I was a big bong user for years and years and years, just bong rips. And to me, that's what I was going for. And I think that both us and Dynavap have achieved that level of it's so close to smoking, but it's still vaporizing and better for you, and that was the goal, along with woodworking. To be honest, I was a cabinet maker for years and years and years. I built houses when I was young and then got into trim and custom moldings and cabinets and furniture. And to be able to build something out of wood that I love doing and be in an industry that I love, that was like the dream come true. And I've known about Champs trade shows for years and years and years. And to me, being able to go to Champs as a manufacturer was like the pinnacle of sticky bricks. And so that it was like the culmination of building knowledge and this hobby thing that I was super passionate about. And so that was really the goal, was to take something that I was incredibly passionate about and figure out a way to make a business out of it. And honestly, from the beginning, that was not it was not entirely the goal. I don't think I had a goal. I built 50 or so in the beginning. I say 50 or so. So this is one of the first, actually,
Ooh.
which it still has a hole, right? The OGs now don't have the hole. Um, and I still use this. Like I try to use it once a week, just to make sure for like testing and stuff that it's
So
going to hold up over
this
time.
is the OG.
This is the OG. My wife has brick one. Literally, she is like my alpha tester. She has brick one, but this is probably two or three. And I believe that Zach from Puff It Up actually has two or three, one of the two, right? Because
Yeah.
he was one of the first. Him and Randy were the first people to test it from Puff It Up. Um, so I built about 50 of them, and I honestly thought this was just a hobby business, and um, it blew up on Reddit for me, and essentially within 1 month, I realized I had a business, and and it was shocking.
Sweet.
I thought we were still doing cabinets, like we had things to finish in the shop before we could actually start building bricks. So it was a very unplanned thing. Uh, but yeah, it's the idea of bringing my woodworking and working with my hands and using the existing tools that I had to do something like this. Essentially, that was the dream.
So what being a woodworker, what what was your most important thing to conserve while approaching wood and approaching a completely different industry, like from building
Mhm.
cabinets and from building very
Mhm.
rough things to building
Mhm.
very small and accurate and
Mhm.
precise work? And what was your most important technique or most important aspect of woodworking that you wanted to conserve
Um,
in your
Two
devices?
things. Two to me, sustainable wood, which does not always happen in the cabinet industry. I'll be honest about that. Sometimes it's just an unattainable goal. But sustainable wood for sticky bricks, where we source our material, the Purple Heart, whether we're getting African wood or South Africa or South American, excuse me, or American wood, it has to be sustainable. So we are really adamant about that. And I've worked with the same company for 15 or so years, so I know them very well and I know where they're getting their material and they believe in the same things we do. Um, so we pay a little more for our material, but that was a very big thing to us. One of the things with the butane thing, um, kind of going back to your other question,
Yeah,
it wasn't just the smoking thing, and I'm not entirely against batteries, but I think everybody knows that batteries are kind of bad for the earth and how we mine them, how we're getting lithium, how we dispose of batteries. It's not the best thing. So I'm a little bit. I have portables. I love my Mighty. I just got a P80 from Lamart. They're awesome. I have to rave about the P80. Um, so I have portables, but I'm more of a desktop and butane fan because of the battery thing. If we had better battery technology, I wouldn't be saying that. But that is one of the big things for me. So the sustainability thing is important to me and my family. We recycle. We have a compost bin. There's several compost bins. We garden. We have several acres that we live on. So we garden and we try to make our own soil. And these things are super important to us and they've carried over to the business. So that's a big part of it. And then as far as the woodworking goes, the joint, some of the joints. Now this is old, and it's starting to move on me just a little bit, and that's the point and why I continue to use an older brick. Um, but making sure these joints are tight as can be. That is one of the single most important things to me. This is my personal runt that I kind of just messed around with.
that's
But same
beautiful.
thing, these joints to me are vital, and especially on the runt when you start getting into that joint there, that is really important that is super tight and it
Yeah,
almost disappears, and that comes from the cabinetry thing. So to me, the finish, being able to use a finish that is food grade, not polyurethane, and then making sure the woodwork remain like it's like as if it's a cabinet or as if it's a piece of furniture. Those are the single or the two biggest, most important things to me.
I love that, man. I love that, and yeah, it really shows in your devices. I got my oh, my special runt here that I got
Nice.
from you, which is a Paduke and
hmm
a piece of sapwood, and I'm using the water pipe adapter because I'm gonna rip it on the water
Nice.
pipe with the mouthpiece that I also got from from a great friend. And we have two questions in the chat. One is about the sticky brick recycler. What's up with that? That's one of the most sought after glass pieces in the vaping industry,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. We're working on it. The problem, we had a pretty big problem with Corona this year. Not with us personally, but where my glass blower is located, they're basically in a collective shop with 40 people, and they'll open for a few weeks and then they have a case and they have to close for 2 weeks.
Uh,
So we what I the most important things to me obviously are like our stock glass, right? I want to
mm-hmm.
get these mini bubblers made. I almost hate showing that on camera because that's my most requested thing is where the mini bubblers. But if I don't have the stock glass like the mouthpieces and the bent flame intakes, then I can't sell bricks, period. And it just has been honestly a huge struggle this year just trying to maintain. And the company, we've grown as a company, not like employee wise, we're still running this on 4 to 5 people
Yeah.
currently. um, but quantity has gone up a little bit and it's been harder trying to grow as a small company, trying to manufacture everything in America right here in Asheville. It's a difficult thing. I really don't want to transition to China glass,
Yeah.
and sadly that's going to be the next step, and I own China glass. It's not that I have anything against it necessarily. We all know it's cheaper, it's going to break quicker, the joints are worse, the perks are worse, whatever it is. um, I really don't want to go down that path. I'm really adamant about spending locally. So I'm employing local people. So if things come slower because of it, to me, it's okay. I am always going to do what I think is the morally right thing rather than run my business as if I'm trying to run it for Wall Street or for money. I need to make money. Everybody needs to make money in their job,
Yeah.
but that is not why I do what I do. So that's a long winded way of saying the recyclers are coming. As soon as we can get on top of the whole glass thing, I will have them back. And he's working on 10 to 15 right now.
Sweet.
Um, so, and that's the other part of it is, is giving him the time to do his own thing. He is an artist that has his own brand also. Um, so, and I have to take that into consideration. And truth be told, it's hard finding glass blowers that want to do volume work. They're almost all of them are artists and want to do their artistry, not do volume work.
Yeah.
And getting this recycler under $250 was a big deal to me. And I just $300 for a hydro tube is a lot of money, and it's a lot of money for me to tie up. I am investing in those things, and then they sit and sit and sit in our office.
Yeah, for sure.
um, so it's, finding that price point and finding a glass person that will work with me on the pricing has been very difficult. So, and honestly, let me give him a shout out. Galloway Glass is his. You can find him on Instagram.
Sweet.
He has been with me for 3 years now, and he has been nothing but awesome. I have nothing but great things to say about him and his work. We both wish there was more time in the day, and that's what it really comes down to.
True, true. So moving on from that aspect, I saw one question about your T-shirt as well. Someone asked where they could get the T-shirt. So if you wanna,
Just so you can see it, we had these made for champs, and then me, my daughter, and my wife tie-dyed them. So you can't get tie-dye versions. Um, I've just learned about online merch. And we've gotten this request quite a bit actually. So I am going to start doing this.
sweet.
Previously, I had carried shirts in stock, and didn't know that you could just like set up a. See, this is the problem: is I am a builder, I am a shop person, I am not a website developer or, kind of online person at all. So I'm learning as I go, and the business side I'm okay with, but a lot of the business decisions are just slow coming because I'm managing the shop and I'm managing the office and shipping and all these things, and it's just a lot of things on one plate. So the shirts will be coming though, I promise.
I totally get that. I feel you. I'm starting my own business in the last couple of months, and it's been hard and pain wrecking and nerve
Mm-hmm.
wracking, and it's everything goes slowly because you don't want to make too much mistakes and you want to be certain. And so I just want to ask, how long have Sticky Brick Labs is operating? How long have you had
Um,
the brand?
in June, it'll be 5 years,
5 years.
which is absolutely not what I expected. As I said, I thought this was a hobby business, and I thought I'd make 50, and that would be it. And the fact that I'm employing, we were up to 7 or 8 people, I believe, at one point, along with the glass blower. So the fact that I'm employing anybody for that length of time is shocking to me. And I will say my shop boss, who likes to remain very anonymous, so I will not give him a shout out. I'll just call him the shop boss. He's been with me for almost 15 years, and this thing would not go without him, and it hurts me to not be able to say his name because I just want to give him credit, but without being a financial partner, um, he has just been incredibly invaluable to me and my family, and is one of my best friends. It's not just that we work together. He knows my daughter, he knows my wife. We socialize together, or used to before the virus. Um, but but yeah, it's having good people in place is the key to this whole thing. I've said this to people, and I don't know if I've ever said it live. Everybody that works for me has a key to the shop, and if you can't have a key, then you can't work for me. And to me, that says a lot about the company that I'm trying to run, and why I think we've made it 5 years. It's a bigger thing. You're not just buying a product. When you're buying Sticky Brick, you're kind of buying into a vision, whether you know it or not. And For me, that's the most important thing. I will never answer to Wall Street or things like that because that doesn't interest me. My life does not rotate around money; it rotates around happiness. So, um,
Hell yeah. I
you
love
know,
that, man. And
yeah.
I got to know you, and I know that it's in your blood, man, and I love that. And I have my next question is I have a beautiful canary OG here, and I have another Paduke runt, and I have a Purple Heart Junior, and I know you stock about 8 or 9 different types of wood.
hmm
My question is, why did you pick those woods?
Um, what?
And which one is your favorite?
So my favorite at the moment is Black Limba. Um, it's beautiful. It has a lot of figuring and color, some variety in the color, but it's awesome to work with. So you're asking the builder, right? So it's not necessarily the most figured because the canary in the end, to me, looks the most beautiful. It has the most figure and color and variety and blah, blah, blah. That one in particular is just a stunningly beautiful canary. Um,
Yep.
but working with Black Limba is the most fun. It doesn't splinter. It cuts like butter. It's just really fun wood to work with. And then what we found, honestly, is as woodworkers, you tend to think, oh, people know cherry, people know maple, walnut. Um, but actually, people know colors. When they hear cherry, they think the color cherry, not like the orange wood that is cherry.
Yeah.
So the idea of having what we actually do is 7 types of wood, and then we've added a couple random ones to get up to 9 or 10 different flavors. But what we tried to do is hit the whole color spectrum with like maple being white, and then working right from the lightest to the darkest out to walnut or purple heart or however you want to look at that, and just try to hit every color variety for people. Um, the one thing we have been told, though, from our retail partners who have been nothing but awesome and truly kept the company afloat, is having too many varieties is too much stock.
Yeah.
So we are starting to par back just a little bit, and this year we're going to probably cut back to 4 wood types. Um, and
Interesting.
and for me, honestly, it's a lot to stock. And I just saw in the comments somebody said the leopard wood. Um, I loved the leopard wood. It's beautiful. It's spotted. It's like looks like a leopard. It is so hard to work with and so hard on our tools, and it
Wow.
leaves a sawdust that's oily and will rust your tools if you don't clean it immediately.
Okay. Wow.
So the leopard wood is going away, and we're debating now just what wood types to really par down to. Um, but it's a bummer because the truth is I want to add more wood types. I see a nice piece of wood. I go physically pick out the wood myself. So when I see a fancy piece of mesquite or something, I want to buy it and build a brick out of it.
Hell yeah. So
Yeah,
how do you go about when you see a piece of wood? Do you envision the vape, or do you already know how to pick your pieces of wood to take the vape out of it? Or I mean, do you make the vape from one piece of wood, or do you connect different pieces of wood?
it's in general. I'm not going to say 100% of the time, but I'll say 98% of the time it is from one piece of wood.
Mm-hmm.
Either it's the board like this. Let me hold. There we go. This and this is a broader piece of wood. Let's say it was 8 inches across,
Yeah.
and so it came from one piece. Or sadly, I didn't pull the flip out, but the flip, if you take all 3 pieces and put it together, that is one long strip of wood. Let's say 1.5 by 1.5. So
Yeah.
the back piece is actually the bottom piece of the wood. When we started, it was not always the case. The juniors, especially, the cap didn't always match the body because we were just struggling to keep everything together as we went through the process. And
Yes.
but now we've changed systems, and we really have a good method of keeping all the pieces together while not causing us to waste too much time trying to keep those pieces together. That was something we definitely learned in the shop, was containing the pieces, all 3 of the junior pieces together, and never letting that mess up was quite a process. So, um, and I think people think that we make one junior at a time from start to finish, and that is, let me be clear, that is not the case. That we drill one hole in 50 blocks, and it's the one size hole in 50 blocks, and then we drill the next hole and the next hole, and so we're building multiple units at a time. People tend to ask for burl and things like that, which is like the knot of a tree or something.
Yeah.
um, and the way we're set up is just it's not for one-off pieces. My shop is not set up for that. That's the other part of it is I have giant tools that were made for cabinetry, and like I was doing volume cabinetry. It wasn't just, custom kitchens. So I don't have really small tools to do very small custom one-off pieces. Um, my joiner is a 12-inch, 8 foot long joiner, and the planer is a 20-inch planer, and the table saw is a huge 5 horse, and just everything is very big and bulky. So we're doing multiple units always, which is a difficulty because I love doing the custom stuff. Who doesn't? What carpenter doesn't like doing custom stuff?
Yeah.
Um,
Talking
but
about
custom stuff
custom
is
stuff, someone asked about the what was it called?
the
Your
fractal.
the fractal, yeah.
I
Who makes
vaguely saw
them?
that.
Yeah, he asked who makes them, and
Yes.
maybe you can tell a
Um,
bit more about that.
So the fractal, which I do have sitting here for those that don't know. So I took a walnut, I made a walnut dowel and started drilling holes in this, and that's what you're seeing here. That is not part of the fractaling, just so you know. Um, so the fractal is this like lightning looking stuff, and I am the only person in the shop that does that. When we started, everybody wanted to do it, and it's neat and it's cool. And essentially, you're taking two paddles and ramming electricity through wood. And then my electrician saw it, and what we were using is a neon sign transformer. And this was something I saw on YouTube. This is not my idea. It's called Lichtenberg fractaling. And anybody can go look this up. I would not recommend anybody doing it, mind you. You can go look it up on YouTube and you'll see why. Essentially, you're putting 12,000 volts, 12,000 watts, 12,000 volts. I'm not a big electrical person. So 12,000 volts of electricity, I believe, through the wood. And my electrician saw this and was like, that is enough to drop you dead immediately. If that hits your heart, you're in big trouble. So be careful. And that was when I stopped letting the employees do the fractaling. So if anybody out there has a fractaling, it is made by me. That's entirely done by me. So same thing. I wish I had more time. They're out of stock on the site quite a bit, but we are taking special requests for them. Just know that it's normally we ship. Right now we're limited to shipping Mondays and Fridays because of the pandemic. But normally we'd ship same day or next day. The fractal units, if you send me a special request, they're taking about a week and a half, 2 weeks to do. And you can write product support at stickybricklabs.com and make that request, and we will certainly get back to you on it if you are interested in the fractal.
I hope you guys got that. And my next question, and the question I saw in the chat here as well, but before we get to that, we'll have a puff together, man.
Session. Yes. Good,
Yeah.
good. So I get asked a lot what torch I use, and I just want to show that that I actually do use the Honest torch that we ship with it all the time. That, or I have like this Eagle torch, and on occasion I will go to this bigger, and they're all single flame torches, right? But I have just had the best success with this Honest torch that is probably 3 or 4 years old, and I literally own thousands of these things in our shop, and I've kept the same torch for a very long time. So
yeah, knowing you, I know it's also important to you to not just throw away things and use them as much as possible and get things fixed.
It's funny. To get ready for the show today, I cleaned some of the bricks, which I've been lazy about. I have this horrible habit of, if I combust, and people ask me that all the time, do you still combust? And yes, I do. Let me emphasize that I get on the torch and I try to finish it, and I do the same things that you guys do. And to me, almost all of my vaporizers, it made me think about this earlier. The Mighty is one of the only vaporizers I own that I can't combust with. Everything else has the capability to combust if you turn it up too much or whatever it is, right? The Mighty is one of the few that I own that I use regularly that you really can't combust in.
Yeah.
So to me, that is super important. Not even that I like the high temps. I'm more of a flavor chaser and low temp sort of person when it comes to electronic vapes. Um, but I tend to push it with the bricks. So I had maybe 15 bricks in my cabinet behind me that I had combusted in, and I set them aside because I make the bricks, and then I'll just go and grab a brand new brick at the shop and bring it home and use it. And my shop boss is like, dude, you gotta stop taking them home. So
Yeah.
I was sitting here cleaning them out today, and same as the torches, right? I have 10,000 screens sitting at the shop. But what am I doing? Pulling the screen out and scraping it and cleaning it all off and dipping it in alcohol because I grew up very poor. I did not come from money at all. So for me, it's hard to get that mentality out of my head. And yeah, I'm always going to conserve and save, and
Yeah, I
it's
get
just
that.
who I am, and it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. I hope it is.
I know it's a good thing, and I love that about you, and I appreciate that and respect
Thanks,
that,
man.
and I also try to live my life the same way, even though every once in a while I just toss the screen out because fuck it.
You got
But
to,
still, I have a jar of FISO over there with screens
right?
inside,
Yep,
and that's how you
yep.
do it. Even though you did send me like 100 nets
I know.
screens.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I
we
try
got
to
a
do that.
someone suggested you do a sticky brick combusted sale. All the bricks you combusted in, you sell them.
I counted them out this morning. There's 18 that I have to clean in this cabinet behind me. Issues.
Awesome, awesome.
Okay, cheers.
Yeah,
Oh,
cheers,
let me
man.
let me point out this glass and give this guy. It's hard to see, but
Oh, that's a.
I had his name is Scratch Glass Works from Fuck Combustion, and yeah, my lighting is a little bad, but he put the bricks, my logo, and Sticky Brick Labs on my glass here. So, um, if anybody wants some sandblasted glass, scratched glass on IG or Fuck Combustion, you can find him. He's a very, very nice guy.
I see. We already have a few Israelis interested in combusted bricks. I might do it myself here. I'll get fresh bricks from Kenny. I'll combust in them and sell them combusted.
That's great.
So, yeah, for those of you who just joined us or haven't been here at the start, I'm Jimmy. I'm hosting Kenny from Sticky Brick Labs this fine evening or morning if you're on the other side of the world. And we are session and having fun and talking about sticky bricks, and we're talking about life. And we are session right now with some fine CBD flower. I got me some fresh CBD flower from Tikkun Olam, which is an Israeli brand, medical cannabis. This is called Avidekel. It's a very nice CBD strain. I'm gonna open that package right now, and once I do that, I also want to ask you, Kenny, because I saw that question in the chat. What is your favorite brick, man?
My favorite brick. See, I pick up this OG, like the OG, and I'm like, damn, it's so nice because it fits my hand. I like how thick it is and big, and. But this is my daily driver. I use the runt of the mini bubbler damn near every day, and it just
Yeah.
the runt is our newest device, um, and it is truly the culmination of it has all the good things of all the devices we built from the Max, the Junior, the OG, the Flip. Everything we learned went into the runt, and I think that's a huge part of it. And the form factor is just nice. It just fits in my hand very well, and I just enjoy it. People tend to comment. I use the straight intake on mine. People love the bent intake, but I like the control of the straight intake with mine. Um, Although I do have, and I wanted to show this to people. This is the first run, right?
Wow.
And if you, it's smaller
It
actually.
is.
Um, so I'll try to show that. So this way it's smaller. It's a little shorter, right? And the mouthpiece is a hair different from the production runs. But that is, it's not even finished. This is a piece of maple, and we never even. I just brought it home and wanted to use it right away, and I still use it actually, right? And the brand's in a different place. I put the, and then it has the magnet like the OG has on the side. Um,
So how does this
so
device breaks apart? I mean, how does
so
the
same. That makes me happy that you can't see the
I
joint,
can't
right?
see
So
anything.
right.
Oh,
So
nice.
same, that, this one was just super tight. That's what we need to do, right? So and it was really just like the first thing we did, and we really, one of the things we really debated was exactly that joint, and so that's twofold. What we did was eliminate. Let me take that apart. We eliminated the stainless steel piece, which, this is my only problem with the OG. You can't just pull the bowl off, right? You
Yeah.
have to rotate it, which is why we had an additional magnet here, right? So you can rotate it, and that sticks at least at that point, and then you spin that and take it off, which I think is neat. It's when we go to the Champs trade show, that is one of the selling points. The fact that I'm sitting there flipping this thing, and they're like, "Holy crap! I didn't realize that opened up," Um, but one of the things we thought about the OG was it sure would be nice if you could just take that off.
Yep.
And that was a big inspiration for the run. And my wife always said the OG was too big for her hand. So that was part of that. That was really some of the things that I've considered with this business, and the way that I'm trying to run it different is exactly that. It's not just that my wife is an alpha tester for me, it's that she's a woman. There aren't enough women in this industry. There aren't enough minorities in this industry. So we have done a lot of outreach as far as trying to involve women in the industry, trying to get the LGBT community involved in this, because I don't think they have a voice in our community. And I think that stuff is super vital, and it takes more than just saying it. You got to like go do it. You can't just say I'm open to hiring women or a homosexual person. You have to actually seek it out and find it and try to do it. So I've been a huge proponent of that, and I have a daughter. That's a huge part of it. Is I have a 10-year-old daughter, so I live with two women, and I want to promote things like that and make sure that my daughter has all the opportunities that everybody else has, not men or women, but that everybody has. So
Yeah,
um,
man.
that was a huge consideration for the run, the way my wife held it and the way she used it. I'm not saying that it was made for women, but a little bit, and it
I
just
love
worked
that.
out to be an awesome device that I use every day.
Yeah. Damn, I love it even more right now. I'm a very big feminist. I had a good number of courses about that, and I grew up with a very strong mom. My dad used to work abroad, so I didn't have him around. So I grew up with a strong woman, and I saw strong women around me, and I also saw weakened women and what society does to women, and I love that perspective that you take that into consideration. And my wife loves your devices as well. When she saw them for the first time, she was like, "Oh my god, I want to use that." And she doesn't even vape as much as I do.
Hmm.
She's like a once in every 2 weeks consumer, and I love that, man. I
Hmm.
really do. And I wanted to ask you if we talked about your daughter and you being a father and father figure, and how do you incorporate cannabis in your life and in your routine?
It just it's just a part of our lives. So we've been vaguely honest. I'm not going to lie. It's a difficult thing, because at what age is it appropriate to start talking about these things? But throughout her life, what we've really found is just honesty. If she's old enough to ask, then we're honest enough to answer. Now, it might be a forward answer instead of sentences and sentences of,
Yeah.
um, but we always feel like either we're going to teach her things, or the kids on the bus are, or MTV, or the internet, or YouTube, or you know what I mean. So what's better, you teaching your kids, or or being honest? It's not even about teaching them; it's just being honest with them. So for us, I mean, I use CBD every single day. It is, while I'm not a medical patient, it has become a medicinal thing for me. And I'm not going to hide that, nor do I think we should. I think that's part of the problem, and why we're facing issues in the whole industry
Yeah.
is it's been demonized and presented in such a horrible way that we all know is not true. I think we've lived with this reefer madness thing for 80
Yeah.
years, and we know it's not true. People know it's not true. The people in power know it's not true. And I just read the other day here in the states, Illinois legalized last year. They had their first year of legalization, and Illinois is kind of a Midwest state. Chicago's there, but there's not much else. And this is not a slight on Illinois. I grew up in Ohio. There's nothing there, you know. Um, Illinois did $1 billion in business last year in cannabis. That is a lot of money. That's,
A
to me,
lot of
that's like
money.
we're missing out on taxation, and never mind that we're not being honest with our citizenry, and getting people medicine that they actually need. I don't even want to say those things are ancillary. That's horrible to think that medicine is being withheld. That's probably the most important thing. But just the way the governments work, you would think the tax dollars and the way things flow, they would want this. They would want this industry to blossom and be huge. And so yeah, I'm trying not to hide anything from her. And it's just a part of my life. That's how it is. It's a passion, and it will always be there. I would assume, you know.
I love that, man. I love that. That was a great answer. And it's almost like you know what I'm gonna ask next, because I was gonna ask about legalization and all those things, but you pretty much answered it. So I'm gonna go a different direction and kind of ask you, what's your favorite pastime activity? What do you do when you're not creating sticky bricks or managing your business or being a father?
Yeah. Well, okay, the father thing, right? That like I got her a computer this year for Christmas, and
Oh,
and it was a well thought out plan of like letting her be on the internet for the first time. And I had gotten her an email like the day like before she was born. I got her name, which I'm not going to say online, but
yeah.
got her name on Gmail, right? So she's had a Gmail address for 10 years, and she just never knew it. And I gave her the computer and got her hooked up to the internet and gave her the email address, and like had this
Wow.
whole thing set up. And she has her own Discord and like all these things, right? That were
Wow.
all set for Christmas Day that we had really thought about. And so clearly I am passionate about that. And then my second answer to that would be music. Um, you and I started talking because
Yeah.
I have a giant Jimi Hendrix tattoo right here, and I have a Jimi Hendrix poster behind me, and I grew up on Hendrix, man. So I knew
Yeah.
we were gonna bond right away. But music, we listen. Everybody, I bought everybody in the shop Bluetooth headphones, so they're not fighting over music all day. But we literally listen to music 8 hours a day in the shop every single day that it's open, and that's like been a continual thing throughout my life. I have a drum machine sitting right here. I have my guitars behind me back here. I mean, I do music a lot, a lot, a lot. So that would be very high on my list. With the pandemic, I started getting back into video games,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and that's been fun. But I really haven't played video games in almost 20 years. But it has been fun. I will acknowledge that. But I
Yeah.
try to do the music thing more than anything. And truth be told, the business takes up a lot of time. So it is a lot of that. It's I've had a hard time escaping it, and I would warn anybody of this, you included, as you start your business. The first 2 years, you're going to be so involved in 24/7 doing it, and it's a good thing. But you got to find your peace too. You got to be able to step away from it and just let it go, and understand that things are going to happen the way they happen, and You know, like the Doug's Woodery thing. Honestly, that really hurt me personally at first. I was really
That was
like,
my
I
next question. So before you answer that, I'm gonna ask
okay,
you: being a dominant manufacturer in the market of butane vaporizers and being one of the first, what do you think about other brands and especially like I wanted to say copycats or maybe
yeah.
inspired devices? What
hmm
do you think, and what
So
manufacturer do you appreciate the most?
so let me be clear. First and foremost, I stand on the shoulder of giants, right? I am doing something, but if it wasn't for the people before me, I would not be here doing this. So I don't want to take credit for anything. I didn't invent anything. I'm just trying to build a beautiful thing first and foremost. And
Cool.
in general, that is what I think about competition or other builders. And I think you nailed it. Inspired by.
Yeah.
Um, I think that Dreamwood does stunningly beautiful work. I have talked to O'Connell's Woodworks, and I'm intentionally giving these companies shout outs. I don't mind at all. Um, and they're both building butane vaporizers I've only used two of my competitors' vaporizers. And I say that with air quotes because I'm not sure. I don't believe that it's competition. I think that the people that support us and that love vaporizers collect things. And I've seen many pictures on Reddit of juniors and novas together.
Yeah.
What I don't like is Dreamwood and O'Connell, and they're not like taking the design, right? They all made their own thing and their own take, and they're doing their own. And I really respect that. You know, I just a little more respect would have gone a long way with the other makers. That's all. Um, but the truth is I don't know that it's competition, and I think that if more people understood that there's room for everybody in this industry. Look at you behind you. It's not like you have one, right? Or you didn't
Yeah.
say, oh, I got these sunglasses and the best sunglasses, and I'm never going to buy another pair of sunglasses again. That does happen in that industry. That is not what happens in the vaporizer industry at all.
That's true.
I bought the E Nano, and then I bought the Arizer Air, and then I bought a EQ, and then I bought a Da Vinci, and then I have a Mighty and a Crafty, and now I have 50 or 60 vaporizers.
Every device
And
with his own special like ritual and experience and
I
you
like
know.
variety.
Yeah.
So, I think that it's a tough thing. I have my family to feed. I have money invested into this thing. I am self-funded. I'm not some big corporation.
Yeah.
Um, so it's tough. It's a hard balance, seeing other people come out with this thing. But the truth is I don't really believe in the patent system. I think that stifles innovation. It doesn't create a better society. So I'm not going to participate in that either. And if people want to make this, and if people want to copy me, you know what? Feel free. I don't have to love it. That's not part of life. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
it's not all like rainbows and unicorns and shit. But the truth is I don't control anything. I barely can control me. That's how I run my life. That's it. You know. So I love to see other people being able to do this. If other people can make money doing it while I make money, then awesome. That is the best thing possible.
True that.
Um,
Cheers to that, man.
right? Um, People have asked me when I'm on the 420 vape zone, right? Um, about buying bricks. And I knew when I joined there back in February um, that there could be a conflict of interest. Troy's whole the way he makes money is from affiliate links. Is he doesn't take money for reviews? You know what I mean? So that's the way he makes money is through selling things to Planet of the Vapes and Puff It Up and stuff through his affiliate links. So if I'm on there and I'm selling bricks, that's not cool. That's Troy's my friend, I hope, right? You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
can't take away his business. That's no way to maintain a friendship or business. That's not okay, right? So it just makes me happy that for the last 7 months or 9 months or year, whatever it's been, all we've done is say, listen, use Troy's affiliate link to go buy through Puff It Up because in the end, I've sold those bricks to Puff It Up for them to sell. So it helps me, it helps Puff It Up, it helps Troy. Everybody gets a little. Rather than me making it all, making the most from getting the retail sale on my website, I get to help two other people follow their dreams and follow their passions. And that is what I want more than anything. I'm getting to follow mine. If I can enable somebody else to follow theirs, great. So if I've inspired somebody to build a wood vaporizer, great. O'Connell is awesome. He is such a nice guy. Him especially. Of all the people, we've had phone conversations. I have nothing but nice things to say to. I don't want to say his name, but O'Connell Woodworks. That dude
I love
rocks.
that.
You know. So I hope him and his family succeed doing the same thing. I feel super fortunate. So, yeah. Again, I don't competition. It is in the sense that we're doing business, but I have an issue with that word, and I wouldn't know what else to say.
I love that. That's a great answer, man. And I think I think there is room for everyone, and I think as long as people stay respectful and make good products, they have
Hmm.
room. Good products have room, and it's not to go saying that this vaporizer is bad, but it's just not as good as what it was inspired by, and that's
Hmm.
going backwards instead of forward. And in
Hmm.
my opinion, that's a waste of space. But moving forward, I wanted to ask, what do you think about this new phenomenon of people hitting your bricks with terp torches and neo pearls and stuff like that?
So my torch is right there behind me. um, Huge shout out to Brian and Austin.
Oh
Great,
yeah.
great, great, great device. They're killing it with that thing. I think that's awesome. I think previous to the pandemic, I was working on a different heat source, non-electronic, but a different heat source. And this year has just been so weird. It's been weird for innovation. Shipping has become a nightmare, and by that I mean like my shipping to my customers, but also trying to get things, acquisitions,
Yeah.
and logistics has just been a nightmare this year. So. Um, I think I saw George on from Dynavap say this once that the problem this year has been you get 95% of your things immediately, but that 5% that is vital to actually delivering the product is still a pain in the ass to get. And just because it's only 5% doesn't mean you can actually ship. And that has been the story of this year. um, so the fact that there's some alternate heating source to me is awesome, and I've been fortunate enough to get to know Brian, and I knew Austin previously. Him and I hung out quite a bit actually, um, and have talked and stuff. So getting to know Brian really well has just been a treat. And
Yeah,
him and
Brian's
I
an
are
awesome
like,
guy.
yeah, we've talked about it a few times. If we lived closer, we'd be hanging out, using our devices together all the time because we just enjoy it, and just enjoy each other's company, and
It's like
So
these two enjoy each other's company, man. It's like they were made for each other. Look at
that's
that.
it. That's it. So yeah, Brian was nice enough to send me the gentleman's pipe for the Dynavap that I just love. I
Oh,
just love that thing.
hell yeah.
um, so yeah, it's yeah. I think that I've thought about that. I tried it with the G43 a little bit, and it seemed like okay, this is totally viable, but the Terp Torch is just um, for that, especially just a slightly better device. I think the
It's
the
perfect, man.
G43 is not quite as refined as which is funny because soldering iron, but um, right? I mean, and I don't think those guys hesitate to say it. In my mind, it's almost to their advantage that yes, it is a soldering iron, but look what we've made it into. That's a great thing.
Yeah.
So, especially with the troubles I believe that are coming in America as far as the vape mail ban and stuff, um, I think Turp Torch is in a good position, and you know,
I hope they
but
are, and I hope Sticky Bricks is as well, because you are in easier spot as well because everything's made out of wood and glass, which
That's
are
right.
not
We're
not.
non-electronic,
Yeah,
so we'll see how this plays out. We'll see. Um, I am certainly not, gonna just cut and run. Um,
yeah.
but but at the same time, I'm a cabinet maker. I've made guitars. I've made bowls, like segmented bowls and things like this.
I remember
Um,
you showing me the one once,
yeah,
an
yeah,
amazing one.
yeah. So, there I do. I, Sadly, I'm a small company. I can't afford to hire lawyers and go to the Supreme Court and fight this. So I'm kind of relying on the big people here, but um,
Yeah.
fingers crossed everything works out for us and
Cheers to
smaller
that.
companies. So I think that's a fear at the moment is the small companies falling off, but we'll just see how it shakes out. And you know, uh, I certainly wow, nice man,
Yeah.
nice. Yeah. Yeah, and hopefully I'm here for the long run. It works so well, man. Like it was supposed to go together. It works so well. That makes me
Wow.
happy.
It's like an induction heater for the Dynavap, but for the sticky brick,
Yes. Yes.
but a convection heater instead of an induction heater.
Yeah. 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 I love
Ah,
it. I really, I think that's such a good idea. And, the fact that there's something out there from another company, um, again, I think people tend to worry about that stuff. And I'm like, hell yeah, that's so cool. And in my mind, it's always like, man, I can't wait to meet them at Champs. And to me, that's such a cool thing that I've gotten to meet. Like Ed's TNT, I mentioned him earlier, right? The fact that
yeah.
I got to meet a fellow woodworker. You asked me that earlier, like who I respect the most or whatever, and two people came to my mind immediately, and then we kind of started talking about other people, but three. Let me just say, Andy from Epic because I had a chance to meet him, and that device really influenced me. But Ed just does incredible woodwork. His logs and his Dynavap stems
Ah, yeah.
are just incredible. You know what I mean? Um,
The wood
and
sense. The wood sense. Yeah.
let's thank you, the wood sense that was evading me. Yeah, his
Yeah.
his wood sense is just incredible and beautiful, and he picks great wood, and he is just a good guy. That dude, we got involved in his fundraiser this year, and I want to say he raised $7,500 by
That was
just getting
amazing.
maybe 10 of us in the community together to donate some things, and which is my pleasure, right? And I think that's his 10th annual. I think it was. Um, and to me, that's just indicative of the person he is. He is such a genuinely nice family guy, and the fact that I get to meet people like that randomly in this is one of the best things. And then the other person that I've never gotten to meet that I would love to meet one day is Dan Morrison, um, who I believe Troy is having a vaporizer made by him, and now that name is eluding me. Um, what does he make? So he makes a
Uh,
very fancy wood vaporizer that he makes the paper and he wraps it and right. But he had made something else before then. Somebody in the comments will help us out for sure.
yeah.
But you know what I'm talking about,
I
right?
do. It's like a
So,
four-letter word or three-letter word, like
the
a
nomad. Thank you, thank
nomad.
you, thank
Yeah,
you.
the
Yes,
nomad.
thank you. And he made something before. He's made two other devices, I believe, before this. He had made one that was powered by essentially a chunk of coal. Like you got a piece of coal hot and you dropped it into a chamber, and that's what you pulled through to vaporize, right?
What?
Um, so he's been on FC since damn near the beginning. I bet he is one of the first 200 people or something on FC. He is way old school, and that dude is like the master woodworker, and I just respect that shit, right? Just the mind. It's not even necessarily the woodwork, but just like the way his mind works.
Yes, I get that.
Um,
Like
there's
the
there's a couple people that I've met this year. I wasn't a huge online person, um, but because of the pandemic, I've been doing the Zoom thing and hanging out in the vape zone and stuff. So there's a few
so
people that
glad
I've
it
met like
happened,
that.
man.
Me too, me too. It's I'm so sad that the pandemic caused it, but I've met so
Yes.
many incredible people, right? And but Dan Morrison is like I just met somebody recently, and without giving the name away, but Pigeon Farm Boy
Yeah.
on that dude can build anything, man. Him and like Mine's 13, and I've just met some very super creative people. And
Hell yeah.
but that's what I think about Ed and Dan Morrison. Those two are just like masters of what they do, and I so appreciate things like that.
That's
Yeah,
cool, man.
I'm kind of. It's hard for me to read the chat without my reading glasses, but
So, thank you, Berserker, for helping us with the name. Oh, Carrot Dabber. Thank
yeah.
you. Is that carrots? Carrot Dabber? I wonder. And let's see, what else did we get? Did Ed ever make something for any of the sticky? Did you ever collab with Ed?
Um, so we have talked about it. And Ed is actually selling sticky bricks, and I'm going to start selling his on my website, I think, right? Um, because it's just good. It's good for everybody, right? So we
Yeah.
haven't collaborated yet. It's just been on the table. Austin and I have talked about it though from Simrel.
Yeah.
And we are actually, I'm having my glassblower make something this week, actually, for a little collaboration we're doing. And we have sent things back and forth. So that is more like something that's going to happen. Let me say that, right? Um, so Austin has some
Interesting.
good woodworking knowledge. He turned very expensive pens for a very long time, so he understands, that side of it. So we have been collaborating since last year, and there's a few people that I would just love to work with, though. There's George and I have talked about it a little bit, like doing a little mix of sticky brick Dynavap stuff, and they have really. I have to give Dynavap a shout out for this,
Yeah.
and when I do these shows, I tend to do that quite a bit. Is make sure I'm mentioning other people because other people really help me. Other people have put me in this position, so I don't ever want to forget that. And the way that Dynavap um, handles the maker community um, and endorses it, not endorses it, but promotes it, and
Yes.
it goes beyond accepting it. They actually embraced it, and that's how I've tried to proceed with sticky bricks, and why in the moment I'll get upset when I see Dreamwood or whatever. Yeah, it hurts. I'm not gonna lie, it hurts. But a week out, when you have time to think about it, just embrace the community. It's good for
Yeah.
everybody. It's good for everybody. In the end, it's so, and I think that's Dynavap's approach. And the fact that they've helped so many people succeed. I mean, people that I don't even know what they'd be doing otherwise. You know what I mean? KG Woodcrafts and things like this.
Yeah.
I think it's super cool that these people have found their niche and been able to dig out a little business because of this awesome device. So I think that's all very cool. And if that's the way the butane market goes, that's the way it goes. I'm in. So yeah, I think it's a good thing.
I love that, man. I also think that, if it weren't for Dreamwood Vaporizer, I would have never get to Sticky Bricks or to Doug's Woodery even, because
Right.
my first wood vaporizer was the Glow 18 from Dreamwood, and it's an amazing vaporizer, and the woodwork
Mm-hmm.
is so cool how they created this thin piece of wood, and it's really beautiful
Mm-hmm.
somewhere over
Yeah.
there. And
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I really think there should be embracing the community, and that attitude is great, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we talked a little bit about music and how it was so impactful about of your life earlier, but I wanted to ask, who was your most influential musician? This is a question that I wanted to ask you for a long time. I see Jimmy over there. I see Grateful Dead. I see,
Yes.
like, what? Can you pick
So
one?
all this whole arm is musicians that greatly affected me, right? So Miles Davis and Rage Against the Machine. It says Rage, right? So
Hell
Rage Against the
yeah.
Machine. and the Allman Brothers, and I up here I have Pink Floyd, the Grateful Dead, and Chili Peppers, and all these bands, Black Flag, that really affected me, right? Um, but Jimi Hendrix, I found super early. Before MTV, I remember the day that MTV started, and it was such a big deal to us. Like, we knew that it was like August 9th, I think it was,
Wow.
1981. Like, we knew when it was coming on. Like, it was supposed to come on, and we were going to be there, and we were, because it was just a new form of music delivery, so it was huge to us. There was a show on HBO that was actually showing like videos of music that were like almost homemade. Now that YouTube is so big, you see these homemade videos of songs that people love, right? It was almost this of Jimi Hendrix, and I had never heard Jimi Hendrix before. And it was Are You Experienced?
Oh.
And I literally like listened to it and was like, holy shit. Rode my bike to the record store, bought the record, rode it home in my arm, one arm, right? Because big 12-inch record, 11-inch record, whatever. And it's one of the only albums that I ever like ruined from listening to it so much. Literally dug grooves in it from the needle that I listened to the damn album so much. So I'd say Jimi Hendrix and then the Grateful Dead, because in the mid 80s and early 90s, it was like a way of life. I followed the Dead around. I saw them 230 times. Like, it changed me, fundamentally changed my views on life and made me the person that I am. So whether it was the music or not, which it was, that was a huge part of it. But the idea, the togetherness of the crowd and the band, and the Grateful Dead is very different. And I think it's weird because if you can't go see the Dead live, the music is just eh. Like, there's some great songs, but I don't think like you're just gonna listen to the Dead and just be like, oh yes, they're really good. I don't think that at all. Actually, I don't think they're very accessible. But their concerts were just a very different experience. They never played the same show twice ever.
Wow.
Um,
Almost like a sticky
um,
brick, man.
right?
Nothing.
No two are alike,
Yeah.
right? And that's the music that I love, is exactly that. My listening to Miles Davis and John Coltrane and things like that. I listen to their concerts. That's the bands that I like do things once, and then the next time it's very different, right? And that's what I really like. The live thing, and going to concerts. I've been to well over 1,000 concerts in my life, because that is my favorite thing to do, just about. And just that 2 or 3 hour experience that you just, to me, you don't get anywhere else, right?
Yep.
So those two bands were just massively influential to me.
Amazing. That's I love your love to music, man. And there's another question in the chat. What was your favorite guitar? What is your favorite guitar and why? And what was your first guitar?
Ha.
Uh,
Okay, so my favorite guitar, I have a Fender Telecaster.
oh,
Um, that was maybe $800. It's not like the Nashville, signature edition. It's just a nice one, and I'm just an average guitar player. Um, I have I have a Ken Smith 5-string bass, though, that is my favorite instrument, that I like saved up for years and years and years, and bought when I was 17 or something. I started playing bass when I was 12, maybe. Um,
damn.
so I saved, I delivered papers, and I was scoring like adult rec softball and shit, and like saved my money to buy this bass, and I to this day still have it, and that would be the band or the bass that I play on stage, when I play in a band again. Um, and then my first guitar was a Gibson SG that we had no idea was valuable, right? I thought it was a $200, not even like $150 cheap guitar, and it turned out to be this really awesome guitar. And I traded it for this garbage like heavy metal guitar, and didn't know that it was valuable until the friend that I traded with took it to the store to sell it one day, years later, like 2 or 3 years later, and he got $1,100 for it or something. I literally
Oh,
traded like for $200 because I wanted the pickups in his guitar and my guitar. Yeah, yeah, mistakes that you make, you know.
Yeah.
I am, and let me just say that I am a bass player. That like I play guitar and play drums, but I would never get on stage and play those instruments with anybody. Bass, I'd get on stage with just about anybody except Primus and play, because that dude's other world, you know.
Yep.
Um, but so my mom was a piano player and my dad loved jazz. So I grew up in a very musical household. So I play guitar and banjo and ukulele, and I learned sax and trumpet in like fifth grade, sixth grade or something, you know. So I play just a little bit of everything, but bass is what really grabbed me.
That's awesome, man. That's
And I made my
awesome.
own too. So for those of you that haven't seen before, I have made five instruments, and three I've given let go of or whatever,
Do you
given
have
to people.
any of them next to you to show
I,
us?
I don't have one next to me, but I can grab one. You want me to get up real quick?
Yeah, yeah.
I'll show. Okay, okay.
We
Hold on one second.
definitely
I'll be
want
right
you.
back.
You all definitely want to see that.
Okay, hold on one second.
I've seen it once, and yeah. So we are talking to Kenny from Sticky Brick Slab, and we're gonna see his self-made guitar, bass guitar. There we go.
Oh, don't fall. Okay. So
Oh,
so, so this is the bass that I would play on stage now. 'Cause, I play mostly jazz and like progressive jazz and things like that, funk type stuff. So I wanted a fretless, so I made a fretless inspired by Rickenbacker. And I literally made everything. I turned my own knobs. Those are walnut knobs that I made. I made the back plate out of oak. And then this is mahogany, maple, walnut, maple, walnut, maple, mahogany, right? And then I made my own fretboard, right? And this is ironwood. Actually, I wanted to try ironwood and see how it would perform because it's super hard. It's called
wow.
epee,
Oh,
um,
yeah,
right? People know it as epee or ironwood.
yeah.
So
In
this is
Hebrew,
an
it's
epee
called
neck.
F. Is there F as
FA.
well? Yeah.
Okay, okay. And did the 10-degree radius myself. Like this took me hours and hours and hours to hand play in sand, and so I had about 135 hours in that bass. Um, the next two that I did, I got down to like 80 hours. So I learned a lot by doing this, and I formed the fretboard myself, or the neck, excuse me, for my thumb. So instead of being just straight like a concave or convex, I guess that would be, um, I actually have this to one side for my thumb. So as I playing this, hand playing this, I just kept setting my thumb on the fretboard there until it felt like, okay, that's what I want for me. So I will
Nice.
never sell this. This was made specifically for me, you know.
Hell yeah.
So that would be, let me get that. So that or the Ken Smith is what I would play the most if I was playing out. The Ken Smith is still just such a nice bass. I just love it. So,
Sweet.
and then if you want, hang on, let me get up one more second.
Okay. I'm gonna hit this OG brick again. I have nothing in that bowl, so I need to reload my bowl.
Speaking of bowls, so that's what I was doing
Oh!
before, right? These are the bowls that we were talking about. This is segmented marquetry or segmented bowls. Um, so that's why the base looks like that, just so everybody watching understands, right? um, that is, people tend to think that's inlay or like this is inlay. It's not. This is all glued together pieces that are then formed into this bowl, right? So this was separate from this, which was separate from this, right? And it's just glued together. It's not inlay. But that is why the base looks like that. And I just wanted to show people that, that's how I got started doing things like the guitar and gluing pieces and making it look fancy and stuff. Um, if by some poor chance that sticky bricks didn't make it, that is probably what I would go back to rather than carpentry. I would probably start doing bowls and going to art shows and things like
Yeah,
that.
I
That's
definitely
something I
see.
love.
Yeah, that's so sick. I need a Kenny bass to slap at the bass on. How much herb can you pack into that bowl? Uh huh.
Ounces.
We got gorgeous. Oh yeah, this is gorgeous for
Thanks, you guys.
macrodosing.
I,
Uh,
I have to say I can't just open this up, but I have trays and trays and trays of like glass holders and like everything wood that I can do. I right. I have all kinds of like stem holders and Dynavap holders and right because
yeah,
anything that pops into my mind, I'm in this fortunate position of I have this nice shop and I can just go make it. And to me, that's been the best thing of the sticky brick thing is it's enabled me to do damn near whatever I want in my own shop whenever I want, and it's given me the ability to own some tools that I've only dreamed about. And the cabinet shop, you're kind of limited to what functions for building sheet goods, holding big plywood sheets and stuff like that. When you're actually doing more furniture type stuff, it opens it up to a different variety of tools. So that's been one of my favorite things. The fact that I own the Powermatic 5 horse saw that I've always dreamed about, and a couple really like specialty tools that like almost manual CNC type tools that I never thought I would have a purpose to own that I now get to use whenever I want. That's one of the best treats of doing this whole thing. I love it.
I love that, man. I really enjoyed talking to you,
Yeah,
and
man.
I wanted to again say that you make amazing devices, and the way your philosophy and your ideologies and the product you get to the consumer and everything behind that, I appreciate that, and I'm happy that we are getting a chance to get that spread over the world even more than it is. And maybe you want to say something last to our viewers from Israel and from all over the world, because we have some 33 amazing people that's been with us for almost
Yeah,
2 hours. Thank you,
yeah.
guys.
So thanks you guys for joining. And what I always want to say to people is um, support the idea. I hope I'm promoting good ideas. It's not the device. It's about different things for different people, but to me, it's about following your passions. And look how fortunate I am, and you can do it. That I want to emphasize that to people that you don't have to do 9 to 5. I do 9 to 5. You don't have to do the 9 to 5 grind. You know what I mean? That you can find what you're passionate about and then go do it. And people want you to succeed, and I have so much thanks, and um, it makes me feel very positive in a time that's very weird on Earth. I feel so very positive. Like people want us to succeed. Know what I mean? When you put your heart into something, people want to support you. So don't hold yourself back and try to follow what you love. And thanks for tuning in. And Jimmy, as always, it's a pleasure. Um,
Yeah,
I'm
man.
so happy that we become friends, and I would do this anytime. Thank you so much for inviting me on. And yeah, yeah. If there's anything I can ever do to help you, please. It's. And let me just say again, the shout out thing, right? I love doing that. So many people in this industry have helped me, and so I think that that's what I'm trying to get across is that point of we can all help each other, right? So yeah, thank you for having me on.
Thank you so much for coming here, man, and thank you for helping me for with everything you did, and thank you for doing what you do for this industry and for this community. And I'm gonna see you soon on the 420 Vape Zone, I hope.
Hell
And
yeah.
if we talked about shout outs, I want to shout out to Troy from 420 Vape Zone for getting me into this amazing community and facilitating the space for all of that and giving us a chance to get to know each other. And a shout out to Presinator for actually inviting me to that community.
Nice.
Um, And I'm going to stay here to about 30 minutes more for some Sticky Brick in depth action and Hebrew explanations for the Israeli community. So, again, I really want to thank you for joining me, man, and letting people the chance to get to know you a bit better and sharing that with us.
Absolutely. Anytime, my friend.
And
Anytime. It
have a
was a
great
pleasure.
Sunday.
Thanks, bro. Thanks. I'll be beating your ass in golf really soon.
For sure. Hell yeah.
Okay. I'll talk to you
Bye.
soon, man. Thanks. And thanks for everybody, to everybody for joining. Have a good Sunday.